8:35. Good morning. Time for your TTO program this morning. Going to welcome in Staci Miller this morning. Good morning, Staci.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
All right. How
Good.
are you?
I'm doing good, and we are here to talk about something that's going to come up in October. I kind of panicked. I thought it was tonight for some reason, but we still have a month, less than a month. But you are doing something for the community that is well needed.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
And it's been well needed for many, 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 many years. And you guys, I guess, kind of talk a little bit about what brought you to bringing this gal down here and kind of explain who she is.
Okay. So my name is Staci Miller, and many of you know that my son Mitch passed away unexpectedly on September 9th, 2021. And when that happens, your heart shatters into a million pieces, into, a lot of shards. And I received a phone call from Terry, and I will never forget that, and how he told me that, something happened with Mitch. Mm-hmm. And that was at 11:11 on September 9th. And, if you look up 11:11, there's significance with that time. But anyhow, in the aftermath, I was introduced to a person by the name of Deb Hadley with KT Humble Hearts by Terry's cousin. And she really kind of told me how Deb helped her when her family had gone through times of trouble. Mm-hmm. Because in this world, you will have trouble.
Oh, yeah.
And that is that's said many times throughout the Bible, mm-hmm. actually. So I started listening to Deb. And she did a Morning God Boost. And it took me a while to listen to Deb. And what I mean that is like to really listen to her. Mm-hmm. And Deb herself has had a tragedy where she lost both of her biological children 9 months and 2 days apart. Mm-hmm. And how she has taken that and turned it into joy and purpose, mm-hmm. and has taught me how to move forward through this tragedy known as grief. Mm-hmm. In the year 2024, I've been really kind of praying about, just bringing Deb out here. And really the year 2024 has been marked with a lot of heartache, and there's been a lot of tragic loss. And I really felt like this was a time for me to be that next person in line. And how can I reach down with my right hand and say, yes, this is what I need to do? Because I see them, I know their pain, I know what it feels like to be on the struggle. Mm-hmm. And what can I do to move forward? It's not anything that you're going to get over.
Right.
But what kind of inspiration can I receive? What kind of message can I use for my own life? Because I am going to find blessings in the ashes. So that's why I reached out to Deb, and I was, yay, good news. She said yes. Mm-hmm. And so she is going to be in Hettinger. She'll be coming in on the 5th. She lives in Alexandria, Minnesota. She is a Christian woman. Her faith is she's a Catholic. And so she'll be coming in on the 5th, and she will be delivering a message, her own personal story, and really delivering a message to live with joy and purpose, despite the severe suffering she has also experienced. And so now is a time to, I've promoted this on Facebook. I've created a couple of two different events on Facebook because I'm not that great at Facebook creating events. But she will be in Hettinger on October 6th, which is the first Sunday in October. She will be presenting at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time at the Hettinger United Methodist Church.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, that's less than a month away, but it's coming soon. So a Sunday afternoon's usually... some people are busy. Some, Sundays are their rest day and just kind of relax. So a good time to get out and talk about something that is very tough to talk about.
Yes.
And I know with your grief, and we have grief, and it's just like it's something that you don't realize what other people are going through. And
right. And I think it's really important too is that everyone has a story. Mm-hmm. And grief, just because grief means you lost something.
Yep.
Grief can also have have a different look. It doesn't mean that you had to lose a child or a spouse or a parent. You could have lost your job. You could
Yeah.
you can have an estranged relationship with a family member, even though you have no communication. That is a form of grief. You may have lost your marriage. You may have lost a lot of your health. I think that really
Yeah.
is very, that's a hardship when we don't have our health because we take
Oh,
it
yeah.
for granted.
Yep.
And when that happens, that is a form of grief. So it's not just that, oh, well, I can't really go to that because I haven't experienced what Staci has
Right.
or your family has, but grief is grief.
Yep.
Even, many.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, and many people too, their pets, it's like a part of
I was
their
going to say that earlier. I was
family.
going to say, pets are a big thing when all of a sudden, the thing's been, the dog or the cat's been running around you for 15 years, and then all of a sudden it's like,
What
Is
happened?
He's sick? The dog's sick or the cat's sick? Yeah.
Yeah,
So they become a part of the family just like anything else, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's really important, and that is one thing that I learned. And I think too, I just want to, really promote, KT Humble Hearts, because that is a legitimate 501c3. And so they have ventured out into their own foundation, their own mission to bring hope and healing to those in grief, to those who are suffering, and to move forward. Now, I know Deb is going to be having a support group, which, but there is a financial cost to that,
Right.
and it's specific. That's coming up in November, and that is specific to child loss.
Okay.
And
Now, is that in person or is that like online?
it would be like through
Like a
Zoom.
Zoom? Okay.
Yeah, so like when I did it, and I just want to, tell a little bit about that because I really felt like that was very healing for me. And there was 12 moms, and again, this isn't just a mom thing, so
Right.
it's dads, it's grandpas, grandmas, friends, everybody is affected by grief. And so every one of us had a different story, but I will tell you there was 12 moms. Four children passed away from an ATV accident. 4 children passed away by suicide. 2 were by natural causes. 1 was, I believe, it was a car accident, and I can't remember, but I believe the person was either texting and driving, went around a curve, or they were intoxicated by some means. And then 1 was murdered. And the ages of our kids were 7 to 42.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, but she was great. And you end up with like people. And, just getting the resources of what you need because you will fall back.
Yep.
You will fall into the pit and you will fall back into pain. Like,
Yep.
that's just how it is, and it's okay, and everybody grieves differently.
Yeah.
And there isn't a right way or a wrong way, and I just feel it's so important that at this point, and that's why you will be seeing an article. It's called Hope, Healing, and Hettinger. And again, I just invite everyone on October 6th.
Yeah. And there's sometimes too that you kind of dread grief.
Yes.
I mean, if you're looking into you're thinking, like my parents.
Yes.
My wife has lost her parents, and it's just like, I still have mine, but I said I know there's going to be a day,
Yes.
and it's just like when you think of that, I mean, to me that's kind of, I don't know if there's probably a word for it, but like some pre-grief of like,
You can see it.
and I did see it on Facebook, and I should have saved it, and it said something about, your parents are in their 70s or whatever they are, and it's like, how many years do you have left with them? But then you said, my parents live 5 hours away. They're like, how many times do you have in the same room with them? I could have 3 more visits with them because they live 6 hours away. They come down a couple times a year. You just never know.
Right.
So that's kind of I don't know if it's pre-grief. I don't think that's the word.
Right.
That,
But I think too is that we're not guaranteed anything, right?
Right. Yeah.
We are not guaranteed. I have no idea if I'm going to see tonight
Yeah.
or tomorrow. And our days are our days.
Yeah. Or when your kids or your husband just say, "Hey, I'm heading to Bismarck.
Yes.
See you later.
Yeah.
See you tonight."
And I know a lot of people probably saw a burnt combine on Highway 8 at mile marker 27. And it is a little ironic that Mitch was 27. And when Mitch passed away, Terry is ran Mitch's combine. That was Mitch's combine.
Oh, okay.
And that burned. And Terry has the whole story behind it. But when Terry, and that happened on August 29th. And when Terry came home that night, and it's usually late, and he came into bed, and I have no idea why I was awake, but it just felt heavy. And I just said, "Did something happen?" And he goes, "Yeah, Mitch's combine burned up." And we just started bawling because it was kind of like one of those last things, and it was so iconic Mitch,
Yeah.
And so you do hang on to some of these.
Yeah. And then do you
Material
think,
items.
is there a reason for it?
Yes.
Or was there, you start
know.
digging in like, okay, why would, so.
Yeah, and maybe Mitch finally did get his combine. He truly is.
Yeah,
Phil.
if I say, you know what, I want that thing. You guys don't need to run that thing anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, and and I pray, like all of us, we have all had our struggles, and I just really want Mitch to look down and be proud of us that
And
we're
I
helping.
think he will be, yes.
Helping that next person in line. And
I think just over the years, from what you've done and the stories you've shared, I mean, has been huge for the community.
Yeah, so we're still standing.
Yep.
A lot of people is like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how I
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
either, but
And that's the thing too with other people that you see. It's just like you look at them, you just go, how are they still? As a parent myself, I always
Yes.
think, how are they functioning?
yes.
I always think, you know what? That happens to me. I'm going to be laying in bed for the rest of my life. I'm not going to be able to. I'm not talk to people, and I'm sure you probably had the same thought, thinking, what am I supposed to do? Then,
Right.
but you've got other kids. You've got your husband. You've got
Grandkids
friends,
and friends.
grandkids. Yes, exactly.
And there is mourning, and when
Yep.
that happen, and I pray that doesn't happen to anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't. It's just, I always remember like when Cole was talking, like at the friends and family. There was some people, your brain's so traumatized. But I remember something that Cole said, and I thought it was fairly profound. When something like this happens, and we know a lot of people that have lost children, they've run ahead of you to heaven, and you are devastated, and you say your prayer, I'm so thankful that my kids are with me. And you understand and you develop a much more empathy for those people.
Yeah.
And you had no idea what they have experienced or felt or anything. And that is so, so true, but out of the tragedy, we will find joy and purpose.
Yep.
That is, we have to. I mean, and I think it's really important when you talk about that, like say if something happened to my kids, to do good mourning. There is a difference between mourning and grief.
Yep.
And to really, to don't waste it, embrace it. There is some beauty in the mourning.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Staci, for coming in.
Yes,
And if you
thank
want to
you.
come on one more time before the event, toward the end of the month or something, or first part of October,
Yes,
if you
I
want to come in
definitely
and talk one more time and invite people out, we'll be sharing it on Consolidated. We'll also have it on the radio. But October 6th on Sunday, it's at 2 o'clock at the United Methodist Church in Hettinger with the presentation for Deb Hadley.
Yes, thank
So-
you for your time.
You bet. Thank you. All right, 8:48. We have more of your favorites on the way.
Hopefully I sounded okay.
Oh, yeah.